in Harambe we like to say Twende, which means let's go. Shango everyone, my name is Nick and I'll be your safari guide for today's safari through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Now while we're out on the reserve, I do ask that you guys stay fully seated at all times. Make sure all personal items are stowed. If you are going to be using a camera, that is perfectly fine. But just make sure to hold on to it very tightly, because if anything falls out of this vehicle while we're moving through the reserve, we will not be able to stop and get it. And since animals are naturally curious, you most likely will not be getting that item back. Now this first area I'm going to be taking you guys through is called the Little Ituri Forest. It's a very densely packed forest full of vegetation and wildlife. Now up on your right hand side, you're going to notice a brown creature with some distinct markings on its backside. Because of those markings, a lot of people think it's related to the zebra. That animal is called the okapi and it is not related to the zebra. It's related to the giraffe. You can tell this because they have the same shaped skull, the same amount of vertebrae in their neck, as well as the same long prehensile tongue that they use to gather food. Now coming up on the right side, there's some gray or some dark, lighter brown animals. Those are called greater kudu. You can tell those are female because they have no horns on top of their head. Alright, far up on the left, on the far left side of this area, you're going to see a black rhino. Black rhinos, you can tell it's a black rhino because it has a prehensile upper lip that it uses to gather food. They are very large creatures, weighing around 3,500 pounds, being able to charge at up to 35 miles per hour. They're commonly poached for that horn on its head because they think it has some sort of scientific or medicinal value, which is false. The horn is made out of keratin, which is the same material as our fingernails. But these dark rust-colored animals are called bongos. Sometimes nicknamed the ghost of the forest due to their very reclusive nature. Both females and males of that species actually have horns on top of their head, with the males being significantly larger. I'm going to go and take you guys through the Sampi River, which is where we see a lot of aquatic wildlife. Now before I picked you guys up, the warden gave you a tip to look for shadows in the water, indicating there could be something out here. So keep your eyes open, you never know what you're going to see in these waters. Now above your heads you're going to notice an animal spotting guide. I'm going to be pointing out everything I see to you guys like I have been doing, but if I do not see something, feel free to point it out if you recognize it. Just not too loudly, we don't want to scare any of the animals. Not seeing anything over here, so we're just going to keep moving around the corner. Alright, these gray and white birds that are over on this island are called pink-backed pelicans. Now, they get that name from a very distinct pink coloration they get on their back during mating season. Very cool, everyone. Looks like there's some Nile crocodile over on the left. Now, Nile crocodile are very large, being on average 15 feet long, weighing around 300 pounds. They don't typically attack anything they come across, including animals much larger than themselves, including wildebeest and zebra. Alright, I'm going to go and take you guys out onto the savannah now, where we've seen a lot of animal migration happening the past few days. So with any luck, there'll still be some animals out here. Now coming up on the right side of the truck is what's called a baobab tree. Now baobab trees are commonly called upside down trees due to the fact that it looks kind of like they're upside down. It is not upside down, however, those are its branches. It will typically remain leafless for up to 9 months out of the year to help conserve water. Now just ahead on the right side of the truck, you're going to notice some kind of a light brown antelope. Those are called Patterson's eland. Now Patterson's eland are very large, being around 6 feet tall at the shoulder, weighing approximately 2,000 pounds as adults. They're actually, despite that large size, they're actually capable of leaping up to 8 feet into the air from a standstill. Now coming up on the left side of the vehicle, you're going to notice a couple, actually looks like 3 beautiful brown creatures with long curved horns. Those are called sable antelope. Now sable antelope are actually the official mascot of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, showing up on our official crest. They use those horns as a sort of a way to spar amongst the males, as well as a deterrent for any predators that might be wanting to jump on their backs. Now around the truck right now, you're going to notice some very large rock-like structures. These are not rocks, those are termite mounds. These termite mounds are very large, being around 15 feet tall at their highest, and are as hard as concrete. Some of the larger animals, such as elephants and giraffes, will typically use them as scratching posts, which is why that one over on the right is so worn down. Some of the smaller animals will typically use them as lookout towers for to spot any predators that might be lurking around. Now just ahead on the right side of the vehicle, you're going to see a large herd of animals. These are white-bearded wildebeest. Now white-bearded wildebeest are some of the largest groups of migrating animals on the planet. Up to 1.5 million of them will migrate between 500 and 1,000 miles every year across the savanna. Alright guys, coming up on the left side of the truck are some Maasai giraffes. These are Maasai giraffes, you can tell that because of the very irregular patterning they have on their coats. They're some of the tallest animals on the face of the earth, being between 18 and 20 feet tall. They actually use that height as well as their long prehensile tongue to their advantage to trim the underside of the trees like that. Whenever you see a large group of giraffes like that all together in one place, they're called a tower of giraffe. I'm going to go ahead and take you guys by an area we've been referring to as Monkey Point for the past few days due to a group of mandrills that's been spotted in the area. Now if we do see any mandrills, I would ask that you guys stay very quiet since they are very shy animals. Looks like there are some mandrills over there on the left-hand side of the truck standing up on that rock. Now the males are very large, typically around 100 pounds. With the females being much smaller, usually around 20 to 30 pounds. The mandrills are known for their very distinctive bright blue and red facial colorations that are brighter whenever the male is the leader of the pack. Looks like coming up on the right is looks to be a male African elephant. You can tell it is a male because of his size, as well as the fact that he is by himself. Male elephants typically are very solitary, being alone most of their adult life, typically being kicked out of their family groups by the age of around 15 years old. They will typically not rejoin other family groups until, except for mating purposes. Sometimes they will form loose bachelor groups. You can also tell that it is a male based on his size. Adult male elephants are usually around 12,000 pounds as adults. Given the fact that they eat around 300 pounds of food a day, it's not. He's related to the dogs. Now I'm seeing a lot of red clay here, which is a good sign if you're looking for even more elephants. Some tracks here, as well as some tusk marks over on the right. Now I did mention that elephants eat around 300 pounds of food a day. They do not get all their nutrition from that, however. They have to scrape that red clay off into piles on the ground, and then they will pick it up and eat it. It acts as like sort of a vitamin for them. It's completely safe for them to eat. Now the large herds of elephants that you typically see around the savannah are actually all female, with being led by the most senior female in their group. Now elephants do not have any natural predators. They do face two very large threats in the same species. Does anybody know what that is? No, they're humans. Humans face the largest threat to elephants from poaching for their ivory tusks, as well as habitat destruction from mining companies looking for a rare mineral called coltan. This coltan is used in electronic devices such as cell phones as well as computers. Now, if you want to help conserve these beautiful animals' habitats, I would recommend recycling any old unused electronics that you have sitting around. This will allow recycling companies to extract the old coltan from them and put it into new devices. Thus reducing the amount of habitat destruction these beautiful creatures face. Now over here on the left-hand side are some greater flamingo. Now greater flamingo are a very light shade of pink. And that comes from the beta... Sorry? So the pink coloration comes from the brine shrimp that they eat, which has a mineral in it called beta-carotene. Now some of the younger ones are a very light shade of white or gray, just because it takes about 2 years for that beta-carotene to seep into their feathers. Whenever you see a large group of flamingos all together in a group like that, they are called a flamboyance of flamingos. very cool, everyone. Looks like there's some Kobe rocks up ahead here. Now, Kobe rocks refer to this group of rocks as a whole. And these rocks are notorious for predators. A lot of times you'll see animals such as lions sitting up on top of them, keeping a lookout over the savannah. Okay, so it does look like there is a lion sitting over on the left-hand side of the truck. Lions will typically remain inactive like this for up to 20 hours out of the day. They're more active during the nighttime hours as they are nocturnal hunters. I'm going to try to get you guys around to this other side of this rock right here where there's usually a pretty good view of them. Now the female lions are actually the ones that will do most of the hunting in their group. The male lions typically stay back taking care of the cubs, being more stay-at-home dads than anything else. Now coming up here on the left, there's a couple, actually it looks like 3 ostriches. Now ostriches are some of the largest birds on the planet. These ones look to be female based on their coloration. Now, ostriches do have very large wings, but they are flightless, however. Their main mode of transportation is walking, and when they prefer, they run places. Whenever they run, they can actually reach speeds of up to around 45 miles per hour. Alright guys, coming up on the right hand side, a couple of yellow-billed storks. They're actually carnivores, will eat anything that fits inside of that bill of theirs. And then over on the left hand side is a scimitar horned oryx. Now scimitar horned oryx is actually capable of going up to 9 months out of the year without drinking any water. To help it achieve this, it has that very beautiful white coat which reflects most of the sunlight off of its back. It also will not sweat until its internal body temperature reaches 114 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, now it looks like we're coming back to the Warden's Post, which is where I'm going to be dropping you guys off. But Hakuna Matata, everyone, means no worries. There's still plenty to do around Harambe. If anybody wants a chance at more up-close and personal animal encounters, I would recommend Gorilla Falls Exploration Trails, which is right nearby. There you have a chance of seeing animals such as gorillas, meerkats, or even an underwater viewing area for hippos. If you want to learn more about conservation, I would recommend a short train trip up to Rafiki's Planet Watch. There you have an animal veterinary hospital, an animal science center, a petting zoo, as well as a couple of character meet and greets, including Doc McStuffins and Rafiki. looks like we're getting pretty close to the village. You can hear some of the music they like to play here. Now, here in Harambe, we do not like to say goodbye, as it is much too final and much too sad. We like to say Kwaherini, which means go well, with the hope that we'll be seeing you guys again soon. So Kwaherini, everyone, go well, go wild, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day here at Disney's Animal Kingdom.